No, they deserved it. I mean, they really did deserve it because of how they treated me after I did so much for them. They absolutely deserve what came to them. And they're lucky worse didn't happen to them, because if we're up to me, this is probably a conversation you've heard before, whether from a believer or non-believer. Such conversations as these are detrimental to one's growth. I mean, did they deserve to lose their child during pregnancy? Did they deserve to be cheated on by their spouse of many years? Did they deserve to lose their job despite being the provider of a large household? Are we guilty of being judges over matters we have no control over? Rejoice not when thy enemy falleth, and let not thy heart be glad when he stumbleth, lest the Lord see it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him, says Proverbs chapter 24, verse 17 through 18. James chapter 2, verse 4 states, Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? When we consider the power struggle between the wealthy and struggling individuals in society, we're all too familiar with how we'd like the story to end, with ultimately the powerful demoted and the less powerful exalted and praised. But such storylines are very subjective and often normalizes violence, betrayal, and murder to achieve such results. If we're being honest, struggles occur to both the rich and the poor, regardless of their upbringings. And much of what the rich would have to succumb to is often more than what the poor would even like to entertain. But I digress. The almost fairy tale storyline we're accustomed to seems to pan out in Genesis when we visit the story of Sarah and Hagar, at least at first glance, when what seemed to be the less powerful Egyptian handmaid of Sarah, Hagar, bears a child for the illustrious Abraham. So dreams do come true, right? Some may say that this turn of events was an act of God. Did God look at the afflictions of Hagar and decide to change the trajectory of her life, resulting in Hagar becoming the more dominant figure in Abraham's life, while Sarai, the less dominant? Or are we simply witnessing the spiral of emotions involved when one of higher status, Sarah in this case, asked for help for one of inferior status, Hagar? Well, after Sarah realized her fault, she seeks to undo the shame placed on her by her previous decision, by yet again following her own methods. And as she consults with her husband Abraham in Genesis chapter 16, verses 5 and 6, in verse 6 it says, But Abraham said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand, do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. Abraham, or Abram as he was called during this time, remains ambivalent throughout the beginning of the struggle between Hagar and Sarai. Maybe for good reason. Sarah may have known what she wanted, but didn't quite understand how to achieve said results other than by traditional methods. And then once traditional methods didn't work in her favor, Sarah resorted to more traditional methods to decipher what she needed to do next. So it's clearly written that although Sarai abused Hagar while she was pregnant to a point where Hagar felt unsafe to remain in the household, as we read, Sarai's problems still remain unresolved. Although Hagar, on the other hand, being afraid, ran into the wilderness by a water fountain where an angel of the Lord found her. The angel of the Lord goes on to instruct Hagar to return to Sarai and to submit herself to her, and tells Hagar that her seed will be great and innumerable, and she will call the name of her first child Ishmael. Wait, whose side is God on anyhow? Well, Sarah endured much, and as she experienced a young boy named Ishmael enjoy life while she felt incapable of giving life, it wasn't until Abraham was 99 years old that he hears from the Lord that Sarah will bear him a boy child, and his name will be called Isaac.